Right, welcome to episode 21 of our multi-language adventure game. So today we're going to actually be able to move around and interact with the world. So what we've done so far is to produce some items using an item class. We've produced some locations using a location class, but now we can actually start to use them. So I'll just run through this to show you what we'll be looking at today. So we don't need debug mode on, so I'm going to disable it by pressing yes, I want to disable it. So the usual start, which we've been through as before. So I'll just wait to get that going through. We'll put in a quick name. I'll choose any old character, and any minute now we'll get to the start of the game. There we are. So finally we're now in a damp hotel room. I'll just increase the font slightly on this one. I don't know if I might overdo it. We'll try it. Might be a bit too big. No, well, that'll do. Just makes it a bit easier to see. So it now says where we are in a damp hotel room, and in this location there is a torch and a book. So those are the items that we put in, and this is the first location. The menu that comes up here is based on what is in the room and what is in our inventory. So at the moment we've just got these choices. The other thing that is put in is any exits or entrances, however you want to put it, from this location. So we can go east, or we can examine or take the torch, or we can quit. That's our choices. So let me just do number one. We'll examine the torch. So it gives you a bit of a description underneath. Then we can take the torch, putting it in our backpack. So you'll notice that because we've taken the torch, the number of menu items has dropped. Let's do the same with the book. A very useful book. And now we'll take the book. So now we've only got a choice of opening the inventory or going east. Let's open the inventory before we move on. So this is a kind of a sub menu which shows us what's in our inventory. So we can either examine or drop any items in there, or we can exit the menu. Just as an example, let's drop the torch. Now, as you can see, the menu has shrunk. If I drop the book as well, this menu will not reappear because there won't be anything in our inventory. So we drop the book and we go straight back to the main menu. So now we can go east, so we'll choose 5. We're now in a dark corridor with a worn carpet. In this location there is a key card. So you can see we have now moved from one location to another. We're in the other one. Now the interesting thing here is the key card is used to get back into the hotel room. So if I press 5 to go west back the way we came, watch what happens. It says you need the key card in your inventory to go that way. Okay, let's try and go north. You need the key in your inventory to go that way. And of course, the key card we can now take. So let's take the key card. So we're going to take the key card. It's in our backpack, and now we can go, hopefully, west back to our room. There we are. We use the key card to enter. So we're back into the hotel room. Let's now go back out to the east. So we've now got our 3 directions, and we want to go. The only place we haven't been is 3, which is east again. We're in a dangerous lift with doors that do not close properly. So we haven't got any items in here, so all we can do is open our inventory or go back the way we came from. Now, in the next iteration of this game, inside the lift there will be an enemy, a rat, and the rat will have a key inside it, so that when you kill the rat, you get the key, and then we'll be able to go north, because that's currently where the the key is hidden. I think in the Python version I'd actually put the key in the corridor location. So as we've kind of shown you what's what and how it all works, let's exit from this, go 5, quit. Thank you for playing. Or quit. So let's just check in the game section whether we add, so we've got the create default locations here. Corridor, yes, we've got the key card in here, but I didn't put the key in, so let's do that now. We'll put the key in there, and that will allow us to go into the room to the north if we pick up the key from here. Normally that will be inside the rat, which is why I didn't include it in here. Okay, so let's go step through all this so you can see how all this works. The only changes that we've made are in the player. I have now completed the add to inventory, which has just got these two simple lines here, and the remove from inventory, which is these two lines here. Game hasn't changed at all. There's nothing new in there apart from the fact that I've just modified that slightly, but it won't affect. Yes, well, I suppose yes. You make sure that's in there, then you'll know that you can get back into that room. So we'll save that. So that's the only change in game. Program has got quite a lot of changes, so we'll go through these as we go through the whole thing. So let's start at main, and we'll put a stop on the play function here so that we can step into play. If you remember what play used to do, was it would simply, where's play? It would simply set the game state to quit, and then that's it, the end of the game. So now we've actually got some stuff to do in the play function. So play is the one that is checked constantly inside this while loop. So we do whatever it says in play, then we come back. If the game state hasn't changed, we continue to play. If it has changed, then we will stop that loop, jump out of it and finish the game, or jump to a menu, whatever you've got set up for yourself there. So right, let's hit the start button and we'll go through. Yes, I will disable debug mode because I want to get through this as quickly as possible. So this bit we'll just have to put up with for the time being. So you've seen all this before, there's nothing new here. Any minute now. There we go. So we're now calling the play function. So F11, and that will step into play. Now it starts off with a couple of strings here, action and param. It then resets the row number to 0 by calling a keyboard clear. Then we've got the a location type here called here. So this is kind of where we currently are. That's why I called it here. So this is our current location, and it's set equal to the shared current location. So let's step into this. Right, so we're now going to call shared current location is hotel room. So we're actually going to set this variable here to that entire object. That will be what this variable contains because it is of type location. So if we press F11, so those of you who are more familiar with Python, this is something that is really great about C#, is that we know exactly what this is referring to because it's a location object. It can't be anything else. So that's a great way of why I like strongly typed languages. I know exactly what I'm doing and where I am. So we're in that location. If I hover over it, I can drop down. I can check all the stuff that's inside it. So again, you can't do this in Python. This is really good to see everything that you want. I can even do a sub one here. I can do the items view, and you can see we've got a torch and a book. So these can go down through many layers to see what's what when you're debugging. Right, so we are going getting now a list of exits. So if I press F11, that's going to go through and check what exits are available. So if to north is empty, so that doesn't get added. To east is a corridor, so that's going to get added. So it's going to add to this new empty list up here. South is empty, west is empty, row is reset to 1, and then it writes out where we are. So this is inside the location class. So this is what the location class is doing. It's actually showing where we are. So let's press F11. We should be able to get, there we are, you are in a damp hotel room. So that's the first printout from inside the location class. That's where we are now. So this is a method inside. If the count of exits is greater than 0, which it is, we've got one exit, which is east. So we're going to then add, there are no exits if they are empty. So this will only happen when the game is finished and we've reached the final room where you can get in but you can't get out. So that's obviously going to skip that. So we'll go to there. If the count of items, and there are 2 of those, the items are a torch and a book. So we now want to create a string variable that will contain those items. So I've started it off with in this location there is. We press the F11 and then it's going to go for each item in the items list. It's going to add it to there along with a comma and a space. So if I press F11 and we go over output, output now says in this location there is colon space torch comma, and then when I run it again it will add the book. So it's now torch comma book comma at the end. This last bit here removes the last 2 characters, which we'll do now, so that the output looks nice and clean with in this location there is torch comma book. You could, if you wanted to be really smart, change what this first line says depending on whether the item count is greater than 1. Then you could say in this location there are, which might be nice, but I didn't want to complicate matters too much, and it's a very cosmetic thing. So now it's going to just write out that output. So we'll press F11 and let's show you what that looks like. So in this location there is torch book. F11 again, and we're going to return now the list of exits, of which there is 1, to the calling function, which is, here we are. So we're now going to pass in we're going to use this take action function here, passing in our current location here, the exits and the row. So the exits are let's just press F11 so we get that up to date. So we're going to take action passing in the here location, the exits of which there is 1, which is east, and the row, which is 2. So let's press F11. So this is a completely new function that has been added for this purpose, and this tries to give the player a chance to take some action. Okay, that's why I called it here. So we start off with an empty list of options. This is what we're going to use to build the menu with. We're not dealing with enemies at this time, but if there was an enemy here, then that would be obtained from the location class again. There is no enemy because we haven't put one in, so we're going to skip that. The next thing is to get a list of items, which is again from the location items that are in there. So if I press F11 there, if I hover over items, the count is 2, and we've got the torch and book. So for each of those items in there, we're going to add to our options, our list of menu commands, examine item and take item. So if I go through those 2 for the first one. Options now contains examine torch and take torch. So we'll go through that again, and we should add examine book and take book. So let's check the options again now. So we've got 4 options: examine torch, examine book, take book. And now we're going to go down to see if there's anything in our inventory. The count is 0 currently, so our player doesn't have anything in his inventory, so this will ignore that adding open your inventory to the options until such time as we've got something to look at. Now for each exit that we found, so let's say we had all 4 directions, north, east, south, west, all had an exit, we would add 4 different ones. As it happens, we've only got one exit, which is east to the corridor. So let's press F11. So for each one, we're going to add those. So we've now got options, count is 6. So we've got examine torch, examine book, take book, go east, and quit, because we added quit as the last one. So that's got our menu set up. Now we've got the choice equal, choose the option from our normal keyboard menu. So let's press here, hit the green button. So we've now got our choice. So I'm going to hit examine torch so we can see how that works. Let's go back behind. So the choice is examine torch. So we're just checking which one of these it fits into. So does it contain quit? No, it doesn't. Does it contain go? No. Does it contain examine? Yes. So that's obviously the one that we're going to be using. So we're going to return a new string of a string array, I should say, array of strings containing examine and whatever the choice is, substring. So the choice is examine torch. We want to extract the word torch from examine just by taking a substring starting at character 8. So if we press F11, then F11 again, so our take action has produced this string array which has got 2 items, the word examine and the word torch. So that's what we're going to be using. Now we're going to check by just assigning this parameter string that we set up here to the second part of our data. So let's just F11 that. So our action now is examine and our parameter is torch. So we're now going to check what the action is, which of course is examine. So that's going to go down here. We'll press F11 and then it's going to right line you examine the torch, and then we're going to pass in the description as well for the item of type torch, which is from the shared items dictionary. We're going to get the description from it, and there it is, a magnificent flaming wooden torch. So let me just go over shared items. So shared items is 4 of them, and if we go over to torch, which is the first of those, there's its key, torch, and there's the value. So we've got the description, the name, uses, and everything we would want to know about that particular item is all in there, which is a nice thing about C#. It shows all that extra detail when you are in debug mode. So let's move on. So it says you examine the torch. Now it's going to give out the description. A magnificent flaming torch. Maybe this is in the wrong adventure game. No, fair enough. Okay. Then it'll sleep for 2 seconds, and then that's the end of this display, and we're going to now go back to play. So we've done one iteration of our while loop calling play. So we'll repeat that again now, and this time we'll stop when we are choosing, we don't want, yeah, we'll do a different action. Let's continue. Right, so We've done examine torch. Let's do take torch, which is 2. So again, we're going through here, and our choice is take torch. So we go through the steps here. Take, we're now going to pass back take torch in our array of data. So our action is take torch. So similar to the examine, except we're now doing take. So we'll go down to here, obviously. Let's do F11 till we get there. So we take and put it in your backpack. So it should now say we take the torch and put it in your backpack. Now, obviously, if we're going to take the torch, first thing is we're going to add it to our own inventory. And the second is we're going to remove it from where it currently was, which was the current location. So let's follow through adding it to our own inventory first. So press F11. So this is where the player, we're in the player class now, add to inventory comes in. There's the item, torch. So we're going to check, does it already contain the item? If it doesn't contain it, then we can add it. So we can now add it to the inventory. So the inventory now contains one item, which is the torch. And we'll escape from there. And now we're going to remove that item from the current location. So we're going into the current location class now. There we are, we're in the current location class, and it says remove item torch. So the first thing to do is we're going to check whether the items in here, there are already 2, which is torch and book. If it does contain the item, we're then going to remove it. So this is kind of a little error trap to make sure that we don't try and remove something that's not there. So press F11, and it's now going to remove that from the list. So at the moment, items contains 2, torch and book. Press F11, and items contains 1, book. There we go, that's done. We've removed the book. Then we sleep for a couple of seconds and then back to our menu again. So let's hit that and we can go back to our menu. Next one, I won't bother with open your inventory, but let's do a go east. So we'll press 4 to go east. So back to the choices here. So our choice is go east. So let's press F11. Does it contain go? Yes, it does. So we're going to return go and the substring choice there. So let's press F11. So our action is go and our parameter is east. So we're going to look down here to see what we're doing next. So we press F11. If the action equals go, which it is, the shared current location, which is currently, of course, hotel room, is going to be set to something different. But it does depend. We've just asked to go east. We may not be allowed to go east if we don't have an item that would allow us to go east. That's not the case here because the corridor is kind of doesn't have any entry requirements, but at least we can check for it. So we're going to go into a new function now called check exit, which again is still part of the main program file. So we're now checking the exit, passing in the current location and the string of the direction we want to go. So we want to go east, and we're currently in, I just dropped that down, and we're in the hotel room still. So first thing it does is to set the next location to where we currently are. So we've got a copy of that stored now in next location. Then we're checking to see whether that next location has got an exit to the direction that we are going in. So if the direction is east, the next location that we are going to, we're going to obtain it now from the locations dictionary, passing in here to east, which would be, of course, the next location. So let's see if we can press F11. I don't know if it'll go through it slowly enough to get it. No, it didn't. So the next location is now a dark corridor. So we're actually in the dark corridor. Now we're now checking whether we need an item to get into that next location there. So the item required is an empty string, so we don't need that. So press F11. If the item required is not equal to an empty string, which this one is, then we would have to check that out, and it would either give us the message you use the item required in your inventory to enter, or you need the item required in your inventory to go that way, and therefore it sets next location back to here, so it stops us from going any further. Assuming that we've got past these checks, then the next location name, which is corridor, is going to be returned back. So let's press F11. So the shared current location is now going to be changed to a corridor. So if I press F11, let's get back here, and we've done our play bit. So let's press continue. So now we're in a dark corridor with a worn carpet. In this location there is, etc., etc. So we've now moved from one location to another. We've got the same examine, take, examine, take. We've got the go north, go east, go west. So that will show how you can access those. The only thing we haven't really covered is the open your inventory. So let's just do that, and that should take us to the end of this tutorial. So our choice is now open your inventory. So obviously if choice contains inventory, which it does there, that's where we will be going. So we're going to return in our string array inventory and an empty string. So that is returned. So the action that we're going to take is inventory. The parameter is an empty string. We don't need it. So it says if the action equals inventory, which it does, and that will only appear if the player inventory is not empty. That's already been checked. So we'll go F11 down. Then it says use inventory. So this is a new function in the main program here. So we've already had check exit, which we have used. We've done take action, which we've used. This is our expanded play. And finally, we've got this use inventory. So quite a bit of code has been added in order to get this to run. So let's step into use inventory. And again, we're making up a kind of list of options. So choice at the moment has been set to an empty string so that we can run this little while loop. So while the choice is not equal to exit menu, it's just going to go round and round and round. So only if we choose specifically to exit the menu will this break out and return. Otherwise, it's going to go through the menu options again and again. So let's press that. So we clear the keyboard as before. Then our title is choose your option. I'm thinking that might be better if it said something like choose your inventory option, just to remind you that you're in the inventory submenu, not the sort of general thing. That's something we could perhaps do as an improvement at next time round, including, of course, adding colours and all sorts. But I don't want to get too complex at this stage. So at the moment, the title just says choose your option. We've got a new empty list of options, and then we're going to add through for each item in the inventory. We're going to add examine and drop just like we did before. So we've added that, and now we're calling the actual menu. So let me run that through. So now we're in the inventory menu. So that's why I'm saying perhaps I should have changed the title from choose your option to inventory : choose your option, just as a sort of a reminder that that's where we are. Because we only got one item in our inventory, that's all we've got, examine or drop. Let's choose drop so that we can drop it. So it says we drop the torch. Oh, I was hoping to stop that. That was silly of me. Let me just, let's tell you what, let's take the key, which is 4. So we'll take the key and we'll step through that. Okay, so we've got it in the cart. Now we're going to open your inventory, which is 5. Let's step into that. Okay, so at this time I want to stop when we choose drop the key on this inventory. So that's in use inventory here. So we're going to choose our options. And let's there's our choice one, so let's stop it at this point here. That should allow us to do that. So we'll go back to the inventory and we're going to choose 2 for drop key. Excellent, that's stopped at the right place. So our choice is drop key, so we'll press F11. So we're calling this one, so it's going to get what the item is that we want to drop from using the substring 5. So choice currently says drop key. After we've got the substring out of it, the item is key. Then it says we drop the item, so we press F11. There we are, we drop the key. Now we want to remove that from the player's inventory. Let's press F11. So, and also to put it, of course, in the location. So the first thing we're doing is to add it to the location. At the moment, the location has got a key card and a torch. We're now going to add the key, so we press F11. So we've now got 3 items in our location. We've got the key card, torch, and key. So step out of that. And then we're going to remove it from the player's inventory. So we've added it to the current location. Now we're going to remove it from the player. So F11, remove from player says if the inventory contains item, does it contain the key? If it does, remove the item. That's it. The inventory is now 0. It's empty string. So we'll sleep for a couple of seconds. And then that's it. And here it says if the inventory count is equal to 0, which it is because we took the last item out, it automatically makes the choice exit menu. So now this loop is going to break because there's nothing more to do. So while choice is not equal to exit menu, it is now equal to exit menu. Loop breaks and out we go. So we've used the inventory. So I hope that's been helpful to understand how this works. As you can see, there are some improvements that can be made, and there are probably ways you're looking at code and thinking, no, you should have done it this way, should have done it that way. Yeah. Of course, we can do lots of different things in different ways in different languages. I've tried to make this as compatible with Lua and Python as I can. So yes, there are inevitably better ways of doing things, but this is kind of doing it as close as I can to a sort of a uniform method. So next time round we'll add enemies and we're going to kill that rat in the lift and get the key out of it so we can escape.